don't know where the buyer is going to be and you can't assume anything, right? The right buyer might be right literally next door. Like the last house we sold in that neighborhood, the buyer was on that same street renting, and people just poo-pooed the person and thought he didn't have the money. He provided like $5 million proof of cash, and it was no problem to buy the house.
Hi, this is Michael Travis with the Waterfront Agent Podcast. Today we will be meeting with Shayla Twit. She is a Sarasota, Florida-based realtor with 23 and a half years of experience in the local real estate market there. She specializes in coastal and waterfront properties representing buyers and sellers throughout the Sarasota area, where it is way warmer there than here for sure, as you can see. Ooh. So you have a fire in the background, and I need fire here because it is way cold. So,
it's not really that cold here, but I like the background.
I know it's 0 here, so it's freezing. Shayla, as I recall when we met last, one of the things I was very impressed with your YouTube channels and your Instagram channels and how you promote your properties. You were in front of a quarter-acre lot for $4.5 million. Is that still for sale?
It might be. It's listed with my office, but I think it's still available, as is the $17 million house.
Oh, that's good. I just walked a client on 19 acres in 5-degree weather.
Okay.
And they made an offer. That was only $700,000 waterfront. So
it's a steal.
That's right. I remember you do a good job of promoting not only yourself, but other agents, even with other companies. How do you feel that helps your business?
As a matter of fact, this afternoon, I'm going to be sitting down with another agent at a different brokerage to just talk market stats. And I think that it serves the public. We're here to serve the public, give them knowledge, and different perspectives can only help our clients. And I think it's narrow-minded to think that you can only stick to your company people. I think some brokers might not like that, but I always beat to my own drum anyway. And usually they're completely fine with it. I don't know why you wouldn't be. But I think having dialogues with the people that we actually work with, it's not just Corcoran, it's not just Cole Baker, it's not just whatever. The diversification is great for the buyers and the sellers, I think.
So I always believe that what's good for the sellers is always good for us. And sometimes you have to be at the other side of the transaction with an agent, right?
Yeah, buyer, of course. Yeah, I catch the drift there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now,
knowledge
what do you do?
Is power.
Yeah. Yes. And I was in advertising in New York City, so sometimes the power was just making stuff up. So it's like,
sometimes you just got to go with the flow, and then everything's changing daily. So yeah,
that's
sometimes
true.
It's being creative.
I see you have your mug. Here's mine.
That's right. I remember mine's just Pottery Barn. Just plain and simple.
Okay. That's right. Now, how did you start in this business?
I actually finished undergrad with a business degree and international emphasis in French speaking, and I didn't really know when I graduated. And my younger brother was already here in Sarasota, and he was studying art at the famous Ringling Art School. And so I came down right after graduation, and everywhere I went, people would talk, like real estate would just come up. And I just thought, let me just get into this. I took 6 months off, waited tables at Outback, and just got into it. And it's still the topic. It's relatable. Most people have had some experience, and just a lot of people I've found out over the years don't just get into it after school. It's like their second or third career. But I just thought, I really do need to work for myself. I can't, my whole family is kind of a family of entrepreneurs. And so it was very fitting. And I saw them growing up. They always had rental properties, and we talked about real estate growing up too, just in looking back. So it was fitting.
So as you have grown in this business, certainly what has grown is the internet and the knowledge and the information that's available for buyers. Do you find that buyers think they're more educated on what needs to be done to do a transaction?
I think some are pretty well versed in the market, but maybe they struggle with navigating through like how to fully negotiate or actually all of the hundreds of things that we do literally almost behind the scenes to get from showings to contract to closing and beyond to make it look and feel seamless. Like I always say, you're not paying for the hour that it took to get the contract done. You're paying for the 20 some years of experience to make it look and feel easy. We want it to be easy for our client, and that comes with time and experience. There is a lot at their fingertips, and that hasn't canceled the need for buyer agency. And there's always going to be something. Now there's AI and there's all kinds of things you can do with chat GPT, but like nothing beats face to face, eyeballs to eyeballs, and having a go-to person that has walked through the homes, that knows exactly what you're talking, has seen, touched, feel, understands the product that they're selling, because it's so hyper local and like a computer just can't replace that. Have you worked with Open Door? And what a nightmare that is.
Yes.
It's not fun. It's not a fun process. It's not an easy process. They make it difficult for you to even get into the houses. It's not fun.
So you mentioned AI. Of course, AI is creeping into all of our lives. I have fun with AI in terms of Soro. I don't know if you've done that, where I create quick little videos. It's frightening. All I do is put in some. I'll send you some videos. They're actually pretty fun.
Okay.
But I also target it for instance, I have me selling a bunch of flamingos in Ice House in Lake Winnipesaukee, and it's amazing in minutes. It creates life-like things there. But in terms of AI, how are you? There's different things that AI can do. How do you find AI being helpful?
I find it helpful. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that it helps save time. Like when I list a property, I am like meticulous in the way that I walk through each room. Nothing replaces that. That's again what we're talking about, that nothing's going to replace the agent for listing your property. So I take time, care, and diligence in taking notes through the rooms. So I can just, if I have like just a rough copy of notes, I could throw it into ChatGPT and help start like curating the write-up and the descriptive words, and then go from there. And then you really do have to edit. So for the MLS write-ups, I've been using it. And then likewise for my video write-ups and my blogs. But like you do have to edit, and you do have to you have to know your product, you have to know what you're talking about. Likewise, being able to edit it appropriately. But it's cool because it saves time in polishing up what you're trying to say and how you're trying to come across in a more polished way, or however you want to come across. So
yeah, I find that it's only as good as the information that's put in it, right?
Yep.
Which means stupid in, stupid out.
Right.
I'm doing a listing for a historic, iconic diner.
Oh, cool.
Which started in 1949. You would think you would have all kinds of information, and all of it is wrong. so it's taken forever because I want to be accurate like you do, of course.
Yeah.
But that's where I think sometimes you can get in trouble. And I think people are starting to notice certain language that's used in AI-generated descriptions that are the exact same.
And the editing, the way it's edited, and the spacing and the font, it's like, I don't want to read something that a computer spat out to me either. But yeah, like I have a unique property too. It's a 1930s cottage on the north side of Longboat Key. It's about the land value because it's waterfront on the island. But what's cool about that property is she left the original booklet of the original cottages and the story of the area called Whitney Beach. And so I did pull from that, and I did use it in ChatGPT, but I did write it up first and threw that into the mix. So at least it was some of the historic stuff that maybe for your diner that maybe you can go back to the microfiche to the library and go back to the old school microfiche if they even.
I am old enough in advertising that I actually did the advertising for microfiche machines.
Wowzers.
But yes. But then again,
yeah, the youngins don't even know what we're talking about. It's all alien talk.
Yeah, I was born when there were only 48 stars on the flag.
Oh, dang.
Now everybody's going to start Googling when that might be.
You're a
And,
dinosaur.
and of course, the DMV had the nerve of changing my hair color without asking me to gray. Can you
I mean,
imagine?
no, I can't.
It's
I can't.
graying. It's
I
I think
can't.
it's the chlorine in the water.
It's maybe the water itself. I
I'm
think
sure
you're
it's the
good.
water. The town water has so much chlorine. Now, so you do a lot of waterfronts. You're doing salt water. I do fresh water. It's a
Right.
totally different world down there. New Hampshire is 1.2 million people in the entire state. There's 1,300 lakes. There's different grades of lakes. But what are some of the different kinds of things that you have to face in terms of selling a waterfront?
Well, right now it's a big piece of it is price. Like I have one specific property that has a very unique storied past. It used to be an old drug running house, and they had ran drugs through with helicopters, and the yachts would come underneath and park the yachts underneath. Now it's an underground pool there that's covered. And so we're using that history to be able to sell. We asked permission, so we have permission because we didn't want to assume that she was like, yeah, sell it. They actually bought the house from the DEA 25 years ago. And
Yeah.
everybody knows this house. It's a really large, well-known house in that area. And they had listed it. We thought we were going to get the listing the first time. They had actually listed it with some. We have a partner on it down there because he lives down south and it's closer to his house. So we do it together. And they originally listed it with somebody else. We were disappointed. And then it's like the old saying is it's not the worst thing to not get the listing. It's when you want to get the listing when it sells. And so
I
we
like
took over
that.
that list. Yeah, we took over that listing with a $200,000 price reduction, and we're out doing open houses, knocking on doors, like going to the marinas, going to Boca, like doing some really creative things outside of what we already normally do, and just trying to drum up the right buyer. Might be right literally next door. Like the last house we sold in that neighborhood, the buyer was on that same street renting, and people just poo-pooed the person and thought he didn't have the money. He provided like $5 million proof of cash, and it was no problem to buy the house. And so you just don't know. You don't know where the buyer's going to be, and you can't assume anything, right?
That's right.
So the challenge though is that it's probably still priced a little bit high. And when we went to go sign the listing agreement, the price jumped up a little bit more than we wanted it. But we just said, listen, we'll take it. We'll do everything we can. We'll try to get the price reductions. It's in an area that was hit really badly too post storm, like storm wise. And it's come a long way, but it's price and it's overcoming some of that because you can still see some of the devastation with the houses are just wiped. So those are just like lot value.
Oh, you mean
Obviously,
getting
they're just
to it, you see the devastation.
on
Getting
your
to
way
the
to the house because it's all the way at the very end on the bay at the open side of the water.
nice.
So you see every way, every house. But then on the flip side, there's a bunch of new construction going up in its place that's elevated, it's built up. So in that sense, what we're going to sell is like it's going to become this is a good time to get into it. Excuse me, because look at everything's going to be built up around you. So you got to flip the script.
Yeah, flipped it. Yeah. What I've told clients, because a lot of clients here, of course, on waterfronts, they have the best view of any house, even better than the one directly next door.
Yeah.
And so obviously their house is worth more. So sometimes what I say is what we're doing is helping to sell everybody else's house.
That's a good way to, yeah. It's
You
all
know,
in the eye of the beholder, and
yep,
honestly, you know, how much they see the value. When a buyer walks into a house and they can see themselves moving into it. Like I had an open house at this property, not last weekend, the weekend before. And there's this couple that stayed for an hour. They were all but measuring the rooms, and it's just like they seemed interested. They might still come through. I don't know. It's just, you don't know. But
yeah.
you could tell when they ask the right questions, and
Have
all
you
you
run
could do is
into
follow through.
have you run into people who are absolutely bogus, like
All
frighteningly?
the time.
I know.
Yeah, all the time. I get a lot of creepers on social media too. I've had some scares, so I have to be careful.
Yeah, there's I I created a Facebook group for agents called Lakes Region Realtors, and I will constantly post if there's any sort of creepy person or bogus person. I've heard in Florida, I've had four people just in the last few months trying to sell somebody else's land.
Yeah, that's really
Try to
common.
list it. And there I think you have a lot of land for out of country owners and things like that. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know how they can get it, but to get the
money. I nip that right away. I can tell almost immediately, and I just say, listen, there's a lot of scammers out. I could tell if they're not, but I can.
Yeah.
And it's legitimate. It's usually an older lady, or there's a number I can research. We have Fort Warren as realtors. It's complimentary for realtors that we are. I love that app.
They have that here. It's a great app. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. But it's easier for vacant land. And if the owner is international, like it's an international owner, they're claiming whatever that they own it. So I always say, okay, no problem. Can you send me the fully executed settlement statement? Because the deeds are public, obviously.
Right.
So they're like, oh yeah, here's the deed. I could have pulled that up myself. Now I want the settlement statement that you sign that's private to the parties. And then they just disappear. And I know they're full of, you know what, so. What a waste of time.
Because we're paid by the hour, right?
Yeah, I just get salary.
The attorneys get paid before. Now, it seems like there's a lot of more international owners down in Florida than you would have in New Hampshire, it seems.
So I don't know the answer to that. And perhaps more of that you'll see in an area like Miami. Here on the west side, which is where Sarasota, Tampa. Right. I mean, my market, Sarasota, from Anna Maria, Siesta Key, Longboat, Manasota Key, that whole segment. Lots of Midwest. We have a very large, I think people forget this. Like they just think that people are coming from like all over, but the migration patterns are more and more people coming from within the state and from within the area or island to island. If they buy on Longboat Key, they tend to upgrade or downsize on that same island. Very common from our area real estate pattern perspective. And not only that, but you guys have List Track, right? You guys use List Track at all?
Yep.
So when you look at an individual listings List Track, like I have, I think 3 out of the, 5 listings or whatever that I have, 9 out of the 10 cities are practically all from Florida and within a close proximity of where the buyers are looking from, because it tracks, if the public doesn't know this, it tracks where in the world the buyers are looking, on what websites, how many views, how many favorites. And that's something we share with our sellers, which is a great tool, but it's more
it helps the market
common.
As well.
Yeah. And of course I'm very local. So I have a really strong marketing campaign for local, of course, internationally too, but we can't forget that literally your neighbor could be your buyer.
Right. And hopefully a buyer for many times, multiple.
Yeah.
People. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. We love that.
Yeah. Now in terms of the waterfronts, I get up here a lot that it says, oh, I need Western exposure. People forget we're not on the Pacific.
Okay.
Or
yeah.
the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, whatever it's called.
So they want Eastern more, right?
No,
Eastern's
they want
good?
Western. And so I face East. And so there's a couple things that I tell people because they don't think about it. If you're facing West, the weather is coming from the West and you have no beach because it washes away.
Yeah.
And then you're blinded all night at the end of the day. But the mornings are absolutely beautiful. But a lot of people just, I think, have this idea that you just want to face west to see the sunset. But we don't have an ocean at the end with a horizon. We have trees.
Right.
And so is there like a view preference that people, I guess it depends if you have channels or if you're in the Bay, Tampa Bay, that kind of stuff.
So some people that are generally newer to the area, they want that southern exposure, that south heat, in some cases. And it's okay after you've lived here for 6 months or a year, you're that in the summertime, and that sun is beating down on that side of the house, you might change your mind and maybe you want north exposure, maybe you want a little something different. But obviously, outside of that, Western exposure on the beach. If you want to be on the beach, you're just going to get that west sunset, rises, sunsets. Sunsets in the west, and the beach views. Obviously, beach and bay are very different for varying needs. If you're a boater, or there's a lot of different things that come into play there. But if you just really have to be on the beach, that is one thing. If you really want sun and you are truly a sun worshiper, and you're not going to walk in the room on that side of the house and be like, oh my gosh, it's so hot, I told you, and now your electric bill and your window treatments have to be covered. Like, if you're okay with that, then great. But after, usually people that have lived here a long time are like, yeah, no, I don't want that.
With my fair skin, and I'm sure, again, another reason I have this color hair is because all the sun and bleaching and whatever that happens. But you're bringing up a point that I wouldn't have. We don't have, it's either cold or not as cold.
Right.
But I guess in Florida, it's either hot or astoundingly hot.
Steamy.
Steamy, yes.
Right.
My wife is from Thailand. It's 140 degrees right now, and their summer.
Oh man.
Yeah.
They're used dry.
No.
It's not. Oh wow. She's dying.
But I just, winter there is summer here, so it's perfect. But
okay.
And we get a lot. There's a lot of snowbirds that come from here down to you. I've got a lot of friends in Jupiter on the other side, but and it's because of the difference here. I'm not personally sure how I could live in Florida in the summertime.
It's a lot. We take our vacations then. It's just like any other place.
Welcome to New Hampshire. It's perfect weather.
What's funny is like people will go south in the summer and I'm like, God, don't you just want to go up north? And sometimes you do go up north and it's still hot.
You have to go way north.
I from Wisconsin, how much more north could you get other than Canada and Alaska? maybe go to Alaska and you can, but sometimes you go to Alaska even and it's like they're seeing heat waves. So you're just like, I can't get away from it.
See, it was colder in Wolfboro than Antarctica a couple days ago.
I saw that the weather patterns are interesting to see.
It's insane. Here we have, in Alton, we have an airport on the ice on Lake Winnipesaukee. It's the only FAA-approved airport on the ice. But it has to be 13 inches thick, not for the airplanes, but for the plows. Because the plow trucks are heavier.
Gotcha.
So I never thought. And I did take I did give doctors a tour. There's a hospital in town. And so if a doctor's considering, they would ask me to give them tours. And I said, we want to see Wolfboro from a different angle. They said, sure. So I drove them on the ice. Yeah. And I was safe. I had two doctors with me. They, I think, didn't feel as safe.
Sure,
they didn't buy anything. They didn't stay. They didn't go to the hospital. So they may have.
They're like, thanks for the tour. Bye.
Yeah, see you later.
Call Shayla.
Florida.
Yeah, that's
where you have alligators instead or crocodiles. I can't tell the difference. I don't know the difference.
We don't really see. I have not seen many in my 24 years living here. They're usually on golf courses, and they really blend in well with on the lake beds, like right on the outskirts of the. You could see them if you're really watching, and they do move through the water, and they blend in so well, which is scary too. But I haven't seen a ton.
So here now, do you have like certain rules about being on? There's a lot of man-made ponds, and alligators, and again, I don't know the difference. Spelling.
We don't have crocodiles that I'm aware of, but just alligators. But yes, there's rules for fishing in certain areas, more like regulated HOA kind of communities. But it just depends on where you are. Okay.
Now, in terms of boats and channels, you deal a lot with properties and channels that are all man-made?
Not man-made. No.
Oh, okay.
Like when you say like a community like Lakewood Ranch, which is a large master plan community, we're not talking access to the open water. So those are man-made, right? There's the infrastructure is part of a larger plan community. When you go westbound closer to the Gulf of America, It's
Yes.
still weird to say that. Gulf of America. Even though the street on Longboat Key is Gulf of Mexico Drive. So I'm like constantly have to think of what I'm talking about. But when you get out there, those are not man-made. The boatable water is going to vary. Like I have one, the big bayfront house that we were talking about, you can put big yachts on. And then I have a smaller home on a creek. The creek has 2 fixed bridges. You can only have a small boat, but eventually it leads you out into the Gulf. So kind
If
of
you can
everything
get under the bridge. Yeah.
at low tide, or if you have a big hull or big top, like those don't work and things like that. So anything from a teeny tiny boat to a big 100-foot, you can fit at that at least 100-foot boat at that other big house. So
As long as there's a place to turn it around.
No, because you're at the end and it's got its own private, like, it's a cool house. It's got like this inlet waterway where you can actually go in and it's secured. It's different. It's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah.
Hey. So what is your favorite thing that you do in your job?
My favorite thing is when I don't care what price, what area, if the client is reasonable, that's my favorite because they listen to reason no matter what they're looking, if they're a buyer or they're a seller. That's the most fun because they listen to your professional advice. I'm pretty sure I've sold more houses than you as the client normally. And I don't know, my phone's dinging. I've probably sold more houses than you. And then when they listen, it's just, oh, the angels come down. It's just,
so I like
it's more fun.
I like when you're saying, I've probably sold more houses than you. Because they can't argue with that.
Unless they were a realtor in their past career. And I had one, she sold real estate in Sarasota and she was an appraiser and she didn't always listen. I'd sold one of her houses. One we just pulled off the market. They're not ready. They're not motivated, which is fine. They'll call me when they're ready. That's a different story. When they don't need to sell too, and needing to sell and just wanting to because they want this, that, and the other. That's a different kind of mentality.
So somebody who says they don't need to sell, so they just want to sell, so they want to use their time and money and investments to see if they can get what they think they should get. And if they don't, it doesn't matter.
That's frustrating because if you're, it's a spot that you're in that it's frustrating because yes, we can pull it off the market or maybe until you find something, then you'll be more motivated. So just like, we love the people that need to sell and are motivated to sell, or likewise buyers, because it is more fun because you know that you're not just working out here and slaving away for nothing, although that's just that is also part of what we do. It's like you win some, you lose some, and that's just the name of the game. That's what makes it a challenging career to be in.
So a couple of years ago, there was a lot of situations, multiple offers, and appraisal gaps. Still run into stuff like that with people there?
No.
Yeah.
No, not in this market. 2026 now, and we're toward the end of February here in 2026. No, we're not seeing that.
That's good.
Are you?
No, there's not. I think I told you I walked 18 acres in 5-degree weather in the snow with a client. We made an offer that was over asking, and then the seller decided to increase the price $200,000.
That is just, that's not
and
a seller.
And it's been on the market for 3 months, and suddenly
that's not a seller.
Yeah,
and they get arrogant to me, that's not a seller. And actually, in our paperwork, if I bring you a full price offer, I am owed a commission. So I don't know how it works up where you are, but
no, technically it says the same, but there's a caveat that says, which I think is written for if somebody brings a ready and willing buyer, which I did. No contingencies, because that's part of it. They could use that as well. There was a contingency. And then it says, or at a price that was agreeable. In that case, that's like this gray areas. That's normally written for somebody who comes in with an offer that might be less. But they're using it as, well, no, it's not acceptable to me because it should be more. And that's a lot of work on our part. Of course, we have clients that drove 3 hours to get there, 3 hours back. And then, of course, it was worse walking 18 acres than driving someone on the ice. I can tell you that much. But it
That's a
was,
pretty extreme example too.
it
That
is.
just doesn't really happen.
No, it's the
To
first time
me,
ever.
that to me, if I'm the listing agent, is worth parting ways with that listing. Maybe not that client, maybe that whatever the situation is. Like, I don't know what's going on in your personal life or whatever, that you're not really a seller then.
Right.
Again, because if you get an offer in the first week in whatever market, it probably just means that it's priced really well.
That's correct.
And then sellers get arrogant and then they look back in 3 months like, that I should have taken that offer. That was a sweet deal. And so it's hard to tell someone, yes, take this sometimes, because they feel like the sellers, you just want a quick commission. Would you rather spend 6 more months of paying property taxes, maintenance, cleaning your house, getting the house
Yeah.
ready, showings in and out, paying the cleaning people, yada? Would you rather that, or would you rather actually keep more in your pocket and do it quicker? I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
a
I agree.
mental thing.
It
It's
is. Yeah. I
hard, I
mean,
know.
I agree with you because I think I've seen this as well. So somebody came so quickly, you just did it. And the first thing they say is that we're just out for my commission. Which sometimes we have to remind them. It says, how much did you pay to do all the marketing? Nothing.
Again, it goes back to what I said, like, you're not paying for the hour it took, you're paying for the expertise to make it quick, fast, easy, look seamless. And again, it's, would you rather have paid all those extra taxes? Would you rather?
Right?
And sometimes sellers do have to learn. I've had two recently where I'm under contract on a property and the last highest and best was already 50,000 higher. I said, listen, guys, if we don't make this work, the next offer that comes in is going to be 50 to 100 less. And as you sit on the market, it's just going to incrementally get lower. So this is our buyer. It's a clean deal. Let's go with it. And let's just be done with it. So it's just, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, but sometimes they just need that time on the market. And it's just, everybody's different
Yeah.
in terms of their motivation too.
I
But
believe statistically, the first offer is always the best. That's what I've always heard.
on the last recent two examples, that was factual.
Yeah.
And it usually is. The offers don't usually go up, okay, as like it's sitting 9 months, let's offer more. Like that just doesn't, that's not the pattern. That's not how
Right.
humans work. And the
Right.
psychology of days on market and pricing, and people love when other people are looking at the same property. So I won, and other people want it and I have it. It's like that whole mentality.
Right.
So I don't
Well,
know,
again, the
constantly
price
figuring
point,
it out.
the price point that you're normally at, what's like your average price point? Because it's a
I mean,
different
it's like a million two
Yeah.
ish on average. Yeah.
No, that's not bad. I'll send you a $3.5 million listing that's actually two houses. One's an Airbnb on a beautiful lake, and you can't. That's the difference. I lived in
Right.
Manhattan.
Right.
I lived in Manhattan and then Boston before coming here, and what a difference! And then you go to Florida; it's a whole different world down there.
Yeah.
And there's so
Yeah.
many.
Right.
Like in your market, how many properties are there in terms of inventory right now?
I mean, there's different markets. I'd have to
Yeah.
look more closely.
No, I don't need
I guess
that.
I guess right now, like in terms of the market supply, demand, and like economics, it's about a 6 month, like between 4 to 6 month level of inventory, depending on which county you're in, homes
Right.
versus condos. That's the thing. That's why I'm being vague, because the condos versus homes, you really have to separate because they're very different markets. Condos are sitting longer because the insurance has gone up, the laws regulated by Surfside. You have to have so much in your reserve. You have to go to do the structural integrity reserve study, the engineering studies of the properties, especially these older condos, versus a house. And then you go to the next county and there's totally different statistics. So it's like, that's why we say real estate's so hyper local, down to the neighborhood, down to the street. but generally speaking, it's a
Yeah.
healthy, it's a fairly healthy market here if you look at the big picture.
So you brought up the condos. First of all, I had a client that was buying a house up here contingent on them selling their condo, and then
Hmm.
a hurricane happened like the week before the closing, but it didn't get flooded like all the rest of them, so it still went through, but it was like painful. But that condo
Yeah,
is an old 54 unit condo development, $1,000 a month for insurance each year.
right.
So,
It
I
must
mean,
be is it old building?
it was an older building, yeah. And
Yeah,
the condo that was at Surfside that collapsed, that has even affected the market up here.
I imagine.
We have 3-story condos, but some lenders would have us sign something that is a hard thing to sell anybody on, that says basically the buyer and seller agree if there's any structural issues in the future that they could be responsible for it. And it's, wait a minute, we're buying a condo. We're not. And it was really,
What?
I've had that twice on older condos. And not, we're talking in the middle of the state. There's no, it's not near the water. And of course, New Hampshire has a total of 18 miles of coastline too. So,
Yeah, I think they just clump, like the way they run their risk reward ratios is they just clump everybody in, and I guess it affects your auto policies too, and
for flooding.
migration studies and who's, yeah, I guess. I mean, flooding, yeah, because of hurricanes and storms and all those things.
There's
Yeah, when
so storm surges versus a hurricane. So what caused the problem, whether it's the wind or the water? Sometimes insurance companies decide it's something else.
right,
And
like we'll pay for the apocalypse, but we won't pay for the flood. Yeah, we know.
that's right.
Or the wind versus
The storm surge, the water
sinkhole, which
surge, or
we
whatever.
haven't.
Oh, now you
Yeah,
just mentioned something. Sinkholes. I've seen a lot of stories about sinkholes in Florida.
right.
Is that
We
a
don't have
type of
those here. I
insurance?
haven't had. Yes, you can. I think it's a rider to whatever the term is to your current policy. So it's like an add-on.
Oh, okay.
But like I haven't heard of one story in my market. Not to say that there's never been one. I've heard of some like further up north, like Tampa, kind of Lakeland area. I've heard of, but I haven't like witnessed or personally experienced anything to do with sinkholes or radon gas or anything like that.
So
So,
radon gas is a big thing here.
um, right, different types of homes and heating
Well, there's
mechanisms,
radon
right?
gas and there's radon in the water.
Oh, in the
So,
water, yeah. Okay, under
so
the water table.
no, the way, so if you have it's mostly it's well water here. We don't have city water because
Oh,
we
okay.
don't have that many cities. The wells have something that is new to look at is arsenic. And then you can test for radon in the air, which is easy to mitigate, and
Mm.
radon in the water. And the difference is radon in the water is something that you have to have a system that aerates the water. Whereas
Okay.
radon in the air, you just vent it out of the house, but it's very expensive. And then I think the
Oh,
concern is that with
interesting.
the radon in the water is that when you take a shower, it turns into a gas in your face.
Whoa.
It's not drinking it that's a problem as much as it turns it. And then, of course, there's a lot of people who think that
Huh.
radon is overrated too. But
Hmm.
that's something that,
Okay.
because I would say probably a lot of your market is city water, which causes this, by the way. I just want to be very clear. That's causes from city.
Right. Yeah, most is public water and sewer.
Yeah. Here it
So,
isn't. My house is the last house to have town water, but not town sewer. And I have two houses next to each other, and I had to put in, it was $18,000 to put the well in, even though I'm right next to the lake. But
right.
so those are things, and the towns I'm sure are responsible for testing the water
Mhm.
and doing all that kind of stuff. Do you have disclosures if a house is haunted? Is that something that has to be disclosed?
No, but I do have to get going. I'm just
Okay.
trying to
Okay.
send a chat thing. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
do have to wrap this up. But
Well,
as
I
far as
really,
a disclosure for that,
yeah,
no. We don't
that's
have a
good.
disclosure for
Yeah,
that.
we have much older houses here, so we have more hauntings. So I only had
Yeah.
two haunted houses, but
Good luck with that.
I know. Right? Okay, Shayla, it was really nice reconnecting, and this time it looks like it recorded. So,
Wow. I guess we didn't see the record button at the top before. Who
well,
knows what that was
it was more
about, but
that you were my first person, and it's all new. It's all new to me, and
okay.
now I know it a little bit better. That's okay. But I've learned a
Okay.
lot, and I know you have to go. So it was great talking to you. I'll be in
You too.
Florida in March, and
Okay.
good luck with at least the 17 million. Sell that one. You can do that. Come on, you can do that.
Oh, it wasn't my listing as was indicated in the video, but I would love to, of course,
You
sell it.
should,
You
I
never
think.
know.
Why not? Okay. You have a
Great.
great day, and just know it's still about 100 degrees colder here.
Thank you too.
Thanks for tuning in to the Waterfront Agent Podcast. I'll be back with some more stories, tips, and expert interviews, and hopefully some humor. So make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.